How well and how easy can this budget bait casting reel cast? In this video, I'll be doing a unboxing and casting session of a budget bait casting reel, the Garcia Black Max X. Believe it or not, I have never owned a Black Max reel before, and this is the 4th generation reel. With that said, let's start off this video with the unboxing portion and see how well this reel is made. And then I'll take this reel out to do a casting session with a lure and see how well this casts. I'm curious if this reel is going to be beginner friendly because a lot of beginners love to buy budget reels because they're never sure if they want to get into bait casting setups. So with that said, let's explore this reel and find out. All right. Unboxing portion of this video, the Black Max X or the Black Max 4. This guy here does not sport the same spool size as his predecessor, the Black Max 3. I got some spools for the Black Max 3 and I was pretty sad after I found out that I can't put it on this reel because it just doesn't fit. But I will borrow a Black Max 3 from someone hopefully soon so I could do a conversion. So stay tuned for that video. I believe I have one coming soon. But anyway, let's focus on this video. We're going to do casting session after we do this overview. But here is the specs for this reel here. You can hit the pause if you want to read everything. I'll point out a few things about this Black Max X that I think is important. We'll start with the gear ratio, 6.4 to 1 gear ratio, which is pretty slow, but it's okay being a slow reel because slower reels usually means stronger gear. And since this is a budget reel, I'll probably use it mainly for swamp fishing because there's a lot of like muddy waters and stuff like that. And some of my swamps are brackish. And I usually do some snakehead fishing in South Jersey, so I think this will be perfect for it. It has 15 pounds of drag, so I think it's okay. I'm gonna put some braid line on it and pretty much put drag close to max, set the hook on snakeheads and yank them out of the swamps. But I'm looking at here, the mono capacity for 12 pounds is 120 yards, which I will be using 12-pound mono, by the way, for the casting session, not braid, because I want to see how well this thing casts. But if I do use this reel, it'll likely be for swamp fishing for snakeheads. But yep, if you want a braid for 30 pounds, it'll have 120 yards. So yeah, I might be putting maybe 40 pounds. We'll try 40 pounds. Anyways, let's take a look at this reel. All right, you got a foam pad right there, and then here's the reel. We're not gonna dive too deep into this reel because it is a budget reel and the focus is really to see how well this thing casts. We have some thick handles here, like this is thick and it's kind of hard. It does have a little give, so it's like hard rubber, but you know, it does give. But the bright red handle is pretty cool. Aluminum handle, but this reel here is heavy. I believe it says that a 7.4, yeah, 7.4 ounce. So this is pretty heavy. Heavy reel. Let's see what else. There is no clicker for the drag, but it works. Okay, so the drag does work. And then next is the tension knob, which is fire red. No clicker. All right, let's take a look at the thumb bar. It's pretty stiff there. So that's nice. And let's take a look at the brake dial. It's at max. So there's a max and a min. I guess that would be min. Let's put that min for a second. Spins pretty well. Yep, the brakes do work. So, all right, let's take a look at the line guide. Unfortunately, the line guide for this reel is not a vortex or cone shape, meaning the inside should be wider and then it narrows out. And that will allow you to cast a lot further because there's gonna be less friction. Like if I put this line guide to the end right there, right? And as you cast, the line dispense and go left and right. And it creates an angle. And given that it's not a vortex shape, that angle is pretty harsh, a lot of friction on here. So if you want to cast further, you should have a cone shape. See, if I was a fishing reel company, I would make sure certain parts will be standard in all my reels, and this is got to be one of it. You got to have some sort of a vortex style line guide so that people cast further. I mean, you'll also save money because you won't have that many inventory of different shaped guides, you know? But anyway, that's just me ranting. But let's see, everything else feels okay, but like I said, it feels pretty heavy. And how do we open this? I think I see this little pin right here. Okay. I think I twist. Yep, you twist this way. There we go. The MagTrack style braking system. You have the array of magnets on the side. Okay. Yeah, this is a pretty heavy spool. Anyways, let's take a look at the spool. We're not going to take a bearing off. The bearing should be about maybe 1.5 grams. But yeah, this is a pretty heavy spool. 17.5, definitely made for bass fishing. So it should be okay. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I don't think it's going to be casting very light lures, but it should be able to do, I guess a 1/4 ounce should be okay for the lowest. We shall see. Alright, so it's time for the casting session. I'm going to put 12-pound mono on my reel. I'll be using this right here, the Sufix Siege, 12-pound smoke green. We're going to put this on a medium power rod and go out there and cast and see how easy it is to set up this reel and achieve far casting distance. I want to see where the sweet spot for the break setting is. All right, folks, got to the water. It looks a little bit cloudy, foggy here today, and that is because it's warm in January. That's crazy. The pond was frozen a couple days ago. We had a lot of snow, but today it's almost 60 degrees, and this morning was super foggy, and it looks like cleared up a little bit at 2:30 p.m., which is insane. But we're gonna do some casting right now. I wanna show you how I configure the tension, okay? We wanna first loosen the tension as much as possible so you have a left and right movement like this. And then we wanna tighten this to the point where there is no side-to-side play. That'll make the spool loose as possible, right? But you don't want that side-to-side play because you don't want the spool to jump while it's dispensing line very fast, because a jump could cause a jerk to the spool and it might disrupt your cast. So it's best to just leave it at no left and right clacks. Kind of like how Daiwa do it. Daiwa have a micro left and right movement, but a lot of folks who use Daiwa reels, they all have agreed that they don't want the left and right chop anyway. But that's how I set it up. So let's give this a nice cast. I'm gonna do about 80% power because I'm not familiar with the braking system here. All right, so no overspooling, and it seems like with the constant braking power, near the tail end, I don't even need to put the thumb on the spool if I were casting like 80% power, right? It did not overspool, but I do recommend, no matter what, always stop the spool right before the lure touches the water. But max power, it's okay. No overspooling in the initial cast, so I'm gonna cast even harder, all right? Well, max cast it. No overspooling, that is good. Distance-wise, it's not bad. But you know, you have to strain yourself to get that distance. So we are gonna lower the brakes and see how well it goes. All right, we wanna look for the sweet spot. And by the way, the sweet spot is when you set the brakes down to a certain area, and it's a range, it's not really one number, okay? You want to be able to cast near full power, and it's gonna overspool just a little bit, but as the lure is still flying out, as it completes the cast, it will fix itself. And once you figure out the range there, you want to figure out how low you want to go underneath that sweet spot, the sweet spot of the brake setting, and then that's when you use your feathering skills with your thumb and achieve far casting distance. So let's figure out what the sweet spot's going to be. Max brakes earlier was around like the 8 o'clock position. So let's try 9 o'clock, and we're going to try 80% again because I'm not familiar with this reel. All right, that went out pretty good, 80%. And I don't think I need to max power this. It's not overspooling, so I'm gonna lower it even more. But yeah, this is a very, very fast way to figure out a reel. And that looks like it's 10 o'clock. Okay, I think that overspooled just a little bit at the beginning, casting maybe around 80% power. So I'm gonna lower it a little bit more. I'm gonna put like 11 o'clock. And that's when I wanna cast definitely 80% power, and then I'll try 100%. All right, that's about 11 o'clock, right? Right there, that's about 11. All right, let's do this. All right, woo. I actually casted 90% on that one, maybe about 90%. And it did overspool just a little bit, but it was like a fraction of a second. It's like 2 little loops, then it fixed itself. So this is good. This is very close to the sweet spot. Let's keep lowering it. All right, we are now at 50% brakes, 12 o'clock position, and we're gonna cast full power. Ah, that is crazy. Did you guys see that? It did overspool, but it fixed itself right before it touches the water. So this is a pretty good spot for any anglers to use to practice casting. So the sweet spot, yeah, around 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock position. I could probably go lower, but let me just cast this full power, and this time I'm gonna feather it just to see what's going on. Yeah, this is not bad. This is not bad. I just feathered it just a little bit and fixed, and I got pretty good distance. But you know what? I'm gonna do more of the Japanese style. I don't really want to cast full power all the time, right? That's like a lot of fatigue. So a lot of pros, what they'll do is they'll set lower than that, and they can cast softly, and hopefully I'll get the same distance just by feathering the spool. Let's try it. Yeah, that might have been a little bit further than my previous cast, and I cast maybe like 75% power rather than max power. So this is not bad, but you have to feather a lot. Like if you're gonna put this at the 130 position, you're gonna need to feather. Definitely need to feather. Try again. Yep, feather, feather. Yeah, it's not bad. Accuracy is there, casting is there. For a on sale $44.95 before tax on Amazon. This is a nice budget reel. Casts really well. All right, I'm gonna be ballsy. I'm gonna turn off the brakes. Nope. Did not do it at all. Woo. All right. I think that was an unfair test because no reels you can really cast super far with 0 brakes unless you're like a true master caster, like skill level up to like level 9,000 or something like that. Gotta be over 9,000. Heck, man. 0 brakes. Whew. I'm gonna try 3 o'clock, all right? And I'm gonna have to feather this as well. Hard feathering. You need to hard feather it, but yeah, definitely 3 o'clock is not good. But I think, you know, the 1 o'clock position is fairly good. Fairly good. Like I'm casting 50% power right here and it's not doing it. Now if this reel here was the Daiwa Tatula, you know, I could go down to break 4 and maybe even break 2. And because of the, you know, the inductor cup is dynamic, it does help a lot, but you still have to feather it a lot. But let's try 2 o'clock. See how we do. Yeah, you have to feather it really good, but that cast right there, light power, it's good. So if I have 0 wind, something hit me over there. But if I have 0 wind, yeah, I could do it right there. But I think everyone should find the 12 o'clock position to the 1 o'clock position really, really good for their sweet spot and achieve a good casting distance. That overspooled a little bit and my feathering wasn't on point there. But that's good casting distance. Good casting distance with least amount of power, right? It's all about feathering. So this budget bait casting reel, pretty impressive. I have never owned one of these reels before, and I think it's not bad for a beginner for the price wise, but I think the Daiwa Tatula 100 is gonna be a lot easier to learn than this one here, but you got paid for a bigger price. You see, I recently done a same style of casting session and I explored the brakes of the new 2023 Daiwa Tatula 100. I found that the Tatula have a stronger braking system and also that braking system is dynamic. So it's gonna be casting a lot smoother and also the sweet spot range is a lot larger. So let me talk to you right now about this right here, the Black Max X4 and its sweet spot. See, it's really important to have a larger sweet spot range because it allows beginners to explore the brakes a lot easier and also train the thumb much easier. But for the Garcia Black Max X4, the sweet spot is a lot smaller. All right, let's talk about the braking behavior of this reel. Let's first set this reel braking power to 50% and let's align the reel so that the 50% is at the 12 o'clock position. It's gonna be a lot easier for me to explain this reel and the braking power because this reel here doesn't really have numbers on the dial, so that's gonna be a lot easier for me to talk about this and explain the braking behavior. But anyway, I found that the sweet spot starting range is at the 11 o'clock position. And the 11 o'clock position, you can cast pretty much at full power and you do not need to feather the spool. But do note that you still need to stop the lure before the lure touches the water, okay? You always need to stop the lure before it touches the water, especially when you set up reel with 0 tension. And the sweet spot range ends at 12 o'clock. It's a very, very small sweet spot range, and this range will allow you to learn how to feather the spool. As you get closer to the 12 o'clock position, you're gonna need to feather the spool, but right before the 12 o'clock position, it usually fixes itself. Anything past the 12 o'clock position, heading towards 1 o'clock, you're gonna have to feather the spool. And anything past 1 o'clock, I think I won't use, like my sweet spot range, I think I'll probably use it between 12 and 1 o'clock depending on wind conditions. And what I found very interesting is that I could cast 75% power using the 1 o'clock position and I'll cast further than the 12 o'clock position casting at max power, which is great because, who want to cast max power every single cast? By the end of the day, you'll be super tired. But yeah, I think this budget reel is not too bad. But if you're a type of person that find bait casting been difficult the entire time, you may want to pay more for a higher end reel, such as the Daiwa Tatula 100, because that reel is so much easier. But if you're on a budget, right, and you gotta pick up a budget bait casting reel and learn how to cast bait casting reel, this one's not too bad. Just know that the window of sweet spot is a lot smaller. I've gotten this reel on Amazon. Y'all can check out the link in the description below, affiliate link. And do note that the left-hand retrieve reel is on sale right now. It's like $45 after tax, okay? So it's not too bad, but the right-hand one is normal price at $55. It's not bad. So yeah, I would definitely use this reel in 2024, my fishing adventures. What I think I'll be using this reel for is probably swamp fishing. I'll probably take off the mono and put some thick braid on and use it for snakehead, bass, and bowfin fishing in the swamps of New Jersey. Sounds like fun? If so, stay tuned for those videos. Anyway, I thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. The fish don't wait. Check y'all out in the next video.